Live from the CounterCultureWISE newsroom, it's Interviews to the Max, with your favorite interviewer and mine, Maximilian von Riegelbieser.
Thank you, Larry! I am thrilled to the height of my cat food bowl to bring you this interview about an important subject facing America every day. It is with great honor that I introduce to our viewers and listeners the head of the Department of Motherland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas.
That's Homeland Security, not Motherland Security.
That's strange. I usually get the person's name wrong.
What?
So, Mr. Mazurka, I understand you're extending Trump's border wall across the southern border of Texas. Am I correct in that assertion?
Yes, but it's not a wall.
It isn't? Well, what is it then?
It's a barrier.
A barrier?
That's right.
And how tall is the barrier?
Oh, anywhere from 18 to 30 feet.
So it's a wall.
No, it's a large fence-like structure.
What would its purpose be?
To block people from entering the U.S.
So it's a... You know, I have a strong sense of déjà vu here. Moving on. Shortly after he took office, President Biden said there would be no more building of the, barrier. What changed his mind?
His mind hasn't changed.
It hasn't?
No, it hasn't. This barrier is an immoral idea.
So even though it's a bad idea to build the wall, you now think it's a good idea to build the wall?
That's not what I'm saying.
So are you at least saying that a wall will work even though walls don't work, even though the wall was working?
No, you dorky little monster. It doesn't work, but we are building it.
I am the dorky monster. With all due respect, good sir, none of this makes sense.
It doesn't have to.
Well, that's certainly a relief. That way, the wall that doesn't work will continue to work, even if it doesn't work. A brilliant plan.
Damn you, we are required to build it.
You are?
Yes, we're forced to use the tax money that was allocated for it.
Do you mean to tell me you had no choice?
We tried. We wanted to use it for other things, but no one would let us.
Well, Mr. Miyagi, I guess that puts you in a bit of a bind. I hope you still had the materials anyway.
No, we sold them and had to repurchase them. We didn't plan to have to do this.
So, now we're buying back the wall materials Biden sold because walls don't work to rebuild the immoral wall that we paid for that doesn't work, but it will work now because we're not calling it a wall.
Gah!
I don't mean to frustrate you, Mr. Minolta. Let's take a different approach. Did you have any other challenges in adding to the existing barrier?
Well, we had to bypass several federal laws in order to do this.
Bypass? You mean just skirt around them like they don't matter?
Don't start.
So in order to legally prevent illegal migration, you are illegally extending a wall that works although it doesn't because you are legally required to, although you shouldn't have to, using repurchased materials using funds that you didn't need to use although you did, in order to extend a wall that Trump built that shouldn't exist but does and is necessary even though it isn't? You're a very confusing man, Mr. Majestic.
Screw this. I'm out of here.
And this necessary conversation wasn't necessary. Oh well, tune in next time for another Interview to the Max. At Goggle, we're celebrating our 25th anniversary. From our humble beginnings as a search engine with a catchy name, we have become more essential to your life than God. From our #1 search page to YouBoob, from our crime books to our Scamdroid phones, we have made your life easier by controlling your thoughts for you and influencing every move you make. And we couldn't have done it without you. Without your constant use of our products, we wouldn't have been able to censor your speech, monitor your web usage, influence your spending, peddle political influence all over the world, and bend your nation to the will of our overlords in the Chinese Communist Party. Best of all, we are even now controlling the political process in the U.S. to ensure the 2024 elections of politicians who will keep this going. Thanks, America. As we look forward to our next 25 years, we look with optimism to the day when we own half the world's economy, 90% of the media, and the distribution of all the essentials of your lives. Until then, remember to just say, "Hey, Goggle!" Goggle, bringing 1984 into eternity since 1998. Welcome to CounterCultureWISE, a Stormcap production. The views expressed on this podcast are those of the hosts, our guests, and the dog, and do not necessarily reflect the views of any of our platforms, our advertisers, or any other dog.
As you listen today, please remember, we are so much more than a podcast. All of our stories we discuss are linked in our show notes on CounterCultureWISE.com. Visit there for commentary, guest photos and links, animations, and fun merchandise.
If you have a story idea or would like to be a guest on our show, contact us via our website. You can also follow us on Twitter, Gab, Instagram, Facebook, and all over social media, where we'll post memes, cat pics, and commentary that gets us booted off on a regular basis.
If you're listening live, be sure to join our chat on Spreaker. If you're listening dead, please stop voting Democrat, but enjoy the show anyway.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another beautiful Sunday night in wonderful Texas, where we are proud to host CounterCultureWISE. We are looking forward to discussing all kinds of things. We have a couple of major political things to talk about, but we're not going to concentrate so much on that tonight. Tonight we have a wonderful guest who I think you're really going to enjoy, Mr. Joel Vander Molen. I'm sorry, Joel, but anyway, he will be on during the second hour of our show. In the meantime, my name is James Monis. I'm not going to give my full name. I just did. And
You want to give him
my social security number
your
is...
PIN and your...
my date of birth. Why not? I am the host with the most.
Your WD-40 number.
It's the same as my SSN woman. Anyway.
Oh! No special discharge?
No special discharge number. No special discharge at all. You don't want a special discharge.
Ew.
No, I mean literally don't want to. Anyway. With me tonight is my bride, my wife, one of the most amazing women I've ever known in my life. That rhymed. My partner in crime, my cohort and co-host, and just my sweet Babette all over the place, Ms. Melanie Hope. They really like you.
I know. They really like me. They do. Well, today was an interesting day.
Yeah.
This morning, I saw a dwarf climbing down a prison wall. And I thought, wow, that's a little condescending.
Okay, so let me ask you something.
I'm the one pressing the button, and even I stink at it.
And I was I was kind of expecting it. Okay, she's going to give the punchline, and even though she's the one giving the punchline,
the AC kicked in and distracted me, and I didn't press the button. I'm like, why did it choose that exact moment to kick in?
Oh, lordy, lordy, lord.
Yeah, well, here you go, next one.
There you go. Folks, we just wanted to shake things up a little bit to start the show. Yeah.
Yep.
So we have a lot to talk about. I don't like to start every show with dead celebrities, but this one hurts just a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. I mean, everybody goes. God bless her. The former star of Three's Company, and She's the Sheriff, Miss Suzanne Summers, died at 76.
Well, she had a good life.
Yeah, a very good life. She,
I mean, 76, I mean, that's not young. She still looked fantastic.
Yeah, well, not anymore. But anyway, well, she not only was a very popular star, she also paved the way for women to get paid as much as men. I don't know how much you know about her situation with Three's Company.
Well, I know people assumed that she was dumb like her character, but she really was not a dumb
No,
woman.
she was very intelligent. She worked very hard to make Chrissy likable at the same time being ditzy. So
yeah, and that's the thing that both she and Goldie Hawn pulled off is a lot of times the ditzy broad is, just over-sexualized and annoying.
right.
But she was still sweet and kind of innocent.
Yeah.
And yet there was a deepness to her. I mean, she really did a good job with that character.
Yeah.
Very lovable.
The thing is, I think it was 3 seasons in, she asked to make as much as John Ritter had made the year before. Mm. And I personally thought she was every bit as important as John Ritter.
Just John Ritter's company. It was Three's company.
Well, the producers canned her. They reduced her to being off screen. It caused some animosity with.
I was wondering why she got. I thought she left voluntarily. So
no.
they brought in her cousin or whatever. And
right,
but
and the show went downhill after that. But the point is, she stood her ground. First of all, she got reduced to just being on a separate soundstage because she'd, this caused some animosity with Joyce DeWitt and John Ritter. They all made up.
Joyce DeWitt was kind of a.
Well, it doesn't matter. The point is they made up and became friends again eventually, which is nice. But not only that,
she the only one left because both the Ropers
Joyce
are gone.
Joyce is still around.
Both the Ropers
John
are gone.
and Suzanne are gone.
John and Suzanne. Wow.
And
so it's nobody's company now.
Yep.
Don Knotts is gone. I mean, they're all gone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the show was 40 years ago.
Gosh, are we really that old?
Yeah, we're really that old. I have to admit, I had a little bit of a crush on Suzanne Summers, along with every other red-blooded straight male in America, and she's beautiful. And, she kept herself in great shape. She was a fitness guru. She became she parlayed.
Well, I had that squeezy thing.
Yeah.
The Thigh Master.
Yeah. She parlayed her, what would seem like a setback into a great thing. She became a Vegas entertainer. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she had a whole show of singing and dancing and all that.
I did not know she could sing.
Yeah.
Well.
Her husband managed her career, Alan Hamill, who's still around and used to do grocery store ads when I was a kid. He steered her career, and I mean, she died rich.
Yeah, she did okay for herself.
Yeah,
built her own little empire.
She kind of became a feminist icon, not wittingly. I mean, just because nowadays they wouldn't get away with that. A woman would earn just as much as a man if they were like co-starring in a show. It wouldn't be, it's very different. She paved the way, although there was a cost. The first thing I saw her in, although I didn't realize was her at the time, she has a brief non-speaking cameo in the classic movie American Graffiti.
Yes, that's the first thing that came up when I typed her name in YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
That and the Joyce DeWitt reunion. She was also in Dancing with the Stars.
Yep.
Joyce DeWitt aged really well too.
Yeah,
She's
they
still
both
a
did.
Darn good-looking lady.
Yeah. And I wish John Ritter hadn't died as early as he had. They were just all so talented, talented bunch of people. And
It looks like they had a lot of crossovers with their show. She was on Step by Step, and
yeah, she was on Step by Step. She's the sheriff,
it was
and
like 8 Things You Need to Know or whatever that John Ritter was on. And
yeah. So yeah, thanks for the entertainment.
she also sang for the USO.
I did not know that. Well, thank you very much for that. Also, Rudolph Isley of the Isley Brothers passed, and he's
he
a
the last brother?
I think Ronald is still left.
I hate being old enough that everybody I know is dying. All my parents are gone. All my friends' parents are gone. I'm starting to lose
Piper Lowry, who
uncles
was
and cousins and
CC SpaceX mom and Carrie, passed as well. So I mean, yeah, good singer, isn't she?
well, they can't hear that. Only
I know,
we hear
but
that.
I'm hearing it in my
she was
headphones.
actually really, really good.
Yeah,
really
she was-
good. I had no idea.
She worked hard.
Yeah,
She worked
really
very
did.
hard.
She really
Yeah.
did. She had it all.
Yep.
Well, rest in peace, Suzanne. You were beloved by many, many people.
Yeah, she was great. Also, this is mind-blowing when you think about it. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to dwell too much on politics this week because we have such a positive, upbeat guest in our second hour. I don't want to drag the proceedings down, but if you're a Kennedy, your family basically built the modern-day Democratic Party, for better or worse, whatever. All of a sudden, you declare that you are an independent candidate. That's
Well,
kind of
if you really think about it, JFK Jr. is actually the only Democrat candidate because the Democrat Party has been completely
it's
taken over.
RFK, honey.
You wrote JFK. I'm
That's
just
me.
reading
That
what you
that was
wrote.
me. Sorry.
I'm just
RFK
reading what you
Jr.
wrote.
RFK Jr. I'm a dum dum.
I get the R's and
Yeah,
the J's.
JFK Jr. is dead and will not be participating in the 2024 election process.
Okay,
I apologize.
RFK, the guy with
Okay.
the weird voice.
Yeah, he sounds more like my Joe Biden than Joe
than
Biden
Biden does, yeah.
But I listened to his speech, and this may shock and anger some of my listeners, but I think the guy has some good ideas. Frankly, if he was to do the two things that he promised he would do that I really want him to do, A, close up the border, B, end these stupid wars that are just draining our finances and not accomplishing anything, then I think he would be a great candidate if he were really able to do that. This is independent of a party because I don't belong to a party right now.
Mm-hmm.
I would like it to
aren't
be
those
him or
the same
Vivek, frankly,
promises
either one of
that
those.
the evil orange man is making?
Huh?
Aren't those the same promises that the evil orange man
Yes.
is making? What is he
However,
going to do differently?
my take on RFK, and I want to believe this. Do I? I'm not 100% sure. But he made it very clear the reason he's running independent is because he's sick of the two-party system. Trump, for whatever his good and bad, he's part of the two-party system.
Yeah.
He may be, an independent thinker. I know you and I believe that he is an independent thinker, but he still is taking he's still a party person, and it's dividing the party, the never Trumpers, the I don't like Trumpers, and the Trump, the fanatical Trump. There doesn't seem to be very many people like, yeah, he's all right.
Okay, so here's kind of a what if.
Okay.
Kind of weird fantasy thing.
Sure.
Trump is not the nominee.
Okay.
So he says, screw you guys, I'm going independent.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get Biden, DeSantis running against each other, and Trump and RFK.
Or spoilers, yeah.
Do you think that RFK and or Trump could be a strong enough pull to actually break us out of the two-party system?
Here's what I think.
And what if DeSantis drops out and we get Vivek, and he stays in
I
Republican?
love him. I think he's great. But
Because, in a perfect world, I was envisioning Vivek and RFK.
Right.
I think we're probably just going to end up with Trump and Biden because people are stupid.
Here's my thought on it. Polls lie.
Yes, that's true.
That's first of all, polls lie. Second of all, it would be an uphill battle because these political parties are no longer serving the interests of the people. They haven't been since 50 or 60 since Bobby's uncle was in the Oval Office. It's pretty much, at least it's been that long since they served the needs of the people. I think starting with Lyndon Johnson and moving forward to Biden, with differing levels of success, but it's become corrupt, and they control the elections by and large.
Yep.
It would take a lot of people. I mean, like an overwhelming number of people who would vote for a Vivek if it was Trump running as an independent, there's an outstanding chance that he would win. Okay.
Especially if he were running against DeSantis, which
right.
Right now is the only other viable candidate.
And
at least according to the polls.
Yeah.
But
once again,
polls
though,
lie.
Bobby Kennedy says he's seen the polls, and it doesn't reflect what he's seeing the polls that the public doesn't see. He's seen the numbers, and he actually has an excellent chance. And I think that his name carries a lot of weight. Remember, this is the Kennedys were the scions of the Democratic Party. They still, up until he declared his independence, they were. I did marvel at his resemblance to his dad. He looks so much like Robert Kennedy Sr., it's not even funny. Because I'm adopted, that's still, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I forget about your take on that.
Yeah, it's like, wow. Looks like his twin, just Robbie would.
That does.
It's such a tragic event. I mean, yeah, do the Kennedys walk on water? No, I've never thought of that.
No, they tend to hold people
They made
underwater.
their fortune off of booze.
They tend to hold people underwater, not
Ho!
I think
good old Chappaquiddick.
I've really got to learn to hit that dang button.
I know.
Speaking of hitting buttons.
Yes.
Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, if you're listening
Wait,
live.
hold. Okay, I've got the helmet on.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Strap it on nice and tight. If you're listening live, thank you so much. Head on over to chat and drop us a line. We do read our chats. If you're listening after the fact, whatever you're doing, first of all, thank you so much for tuning in. Second of all, drop everything. And hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe. If you love our show, give us 240 billion likes, stars, all of that. If you don't really like this show, just give us just enough stars, like 5 or so, to make it
5 would be
insulting,
good.
so we really feel it.
Yeah.
But don't leave like 1 star, because that's just mean you're not even trying. Give us like 5, so we kind of just really feel the pain.
Yeah.
Otherwise, give us 200 billion. Smack that like button.
Over and over
Subscribe.
again. Make sure it's been done.
Well, it's
not
like a crosswalk button where you have to hit it, once to turn it on, and then twice to turn it off, and then 3 times to turn it back on. So make sure you hit
just
it
make
an
sure it's
odd
an
number.
even number.
No, it's got to be an odd number. 1, 3, 5,
She's the
7.
tutor, folks. I'm the one who called RFK JFK. Just roll with her this evening.
You know what still upsets me is
What?
I want 1 to be a prime number, but it's not considered a prime number because it only has 1 factor. And I'm still upset about that. Because I have CDO.
Yeah.
It's OCD, but I want it in alphabetical order.
Yeah.
1 really needs to be a prime number, but no. A prime number only has 2 factors, 1 and itself, whereas 1 only has itself. Jim's like, can I go home now? My brain is full.
I'm already home, so.
Anyways, I was working with a student, and we were doing her homework, and it was one of those online things, and we collectively got that answer wrong because 1 was not considered a prime number, and I'm still very upset about that. But yeah, I guess technically it's not. And because, the definition of a prime number is 1 and itself, and 1 and itself. Well, but since it's only got 1, Okay, now that I've bored everybody half to tears. If you have suggestions for this show, we love to hear from you. There are buttons to press on our website, which will be under construction here very soon. And if you absolutely despise our show and we hurt your feelings and we're evil, nasty, terrible, Zionist Nazis, as I've been called, head on over to CounterCultureWISE.com and fill out the ID10T form. There you'll have plenty of room and space to voice your concerns and tell us how much you don't like us, and we will be sure to give that the attention that it deserves. I think I got all that. Oh, yeah, buy our crap.
Yeah, buy our crap, please.
Send us money.
we've got, we want to make this the best podcast we absolutely can. And we can't do it without you.
We could probably do it without us, though. It'd be better.
Welcome to Counterculture. Shut up, Max.
Yeah.
You're not getting my job.
He's been vying for it, though, let me tell you. He's been vying for it. All righty. Well, so, as far as I am looking at senior and junior next to each other. You're right, it is uncanny.
Yeah.
The Kennedys had like this good all-American, straight teeth, blue-eyed thing going for them. They've got the whole package. I get that. I wish he would fix his voice. Scott Adams says he could, so you give him a call there, buddy. I think it would just be a very interesting. And here's the other thing. I've noticed whenever you have a really viable third-party candidate, the powers that be, who I don't think should be, won't let them on the debate stage.
Oh, I know. It'll be... But then again, this election season, who's still the Republican front runner even though he doesn't participate in the debates?
That's true.
This is a different land than even 4 years ago. This is very different territory. I'm thinking that just, like I said, based on his name recognition alone, and America loves the Kennedys. We do. It's not, and I'm
I'm too young for that. They were already not a thing by the time I was, not an infant.
Yeah. So but they're so beloved by a good number of Americans.
The only Kennedy I knew was the drunken hooker killing one. So.
Oh boy. Yeah, that was Ted Kennedy, and he was a senator.
Isn't he still in office?
No, honey.
Which Kennedy is still in office?
Not anybody related to that Kennedy family.
Oh, okay.
Not, there is another Kennedy in office, but he's a Republican, not related to them at all.
There's a Republican Kennedy.
The closest thing we had recently was Maria Shriver's husband, Arnold, was the governor of California.
Okay.
So he married into the Kennedy family.
Way to go, Arnie.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Arnie as an actor.
Not as a human being anymore.
Not since he said screw your freedoms, because somebody who came from Austria during the period of time he did should know better than to say things like that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Anyway, I'm not going to go there either, although I did. But I'm thinking this. I remember the Ross Perot phenomenon, but he came across as too goofy,
Yeah, but I liked his ideas.
I liked his ideas too, what ones there were, but then there were these. I remember watching CNN. This is back in the 80s when they were viable and somewhat trustworthy, but they were interviewing people. I like his ideas. What ideas are they? So, every now and then somebody like I remember John Anderson in 1980, and then Ross Perot after that, and then I've been
the first drummer in the White House. John Anderson.
Really, Melanie?
Sorry.
I eat at Chez Nous. But anyway, we're just having fun here tonight. That's all we're doing, leading up to this great interview.
Well, okay, we wanted to talk, we don't want to get too Bible thumpy God.
Yeah.
But we are a Christian podcast, and we've been trying to really behave ourselves as far as the swearing and all that, because we did kind of go down a dark path, and things are changing in our lives right now. And I think today we learned a very profound lesson about praying that I think we should share with our audiences. And then there's going to be a little bit of that with our interview with Joel, who really, really inspired me this week.
Okay, let's talk
That was such
about
a great interview. I really like what our Pastor Jan had to say today about our prayers being anemic and pathetic and kind of weak and sick.
That's true.
That we pray for things. I mean, we joke about God being a vending machine, and we joke about, praying hard enough or praying this and that. But I've noticed we do this, and I'm going to try to get myself out of the habit. Not only do we pray, whatever you want, God, your will, meh, meh, which kind of means we don't really believe that He is going to deliver.
And in a way, it's kind of silly because God's will is going to be done.
Regardless,
ultimately.
Yeah. And it always sounds like we're just settling. It's like, okay, well, I know I'm not going to get what I want, but, I'll just be grateful because, you're God and stuff. And we sound like ungrateful little teenagers. The second thing is that we pray and pray and pray and pray and pray for something when really the Bible says, and more than once, and Jesus said, pray boldly for, even if it's impossible, and then thank Him for delivering, even if you haven't seen it yet. And I've decided, we are in a sticky situation that we're not going to go too far into detail about, although I'm sure we'll get a couple of good sketches out of it.
Definitely.
We are in the process of trying to find a home, and rather than every day, oh, God, help us find a home. Oh, help us find the right home. Help us find the place where you want us to be. That's already been prayed. He knows, He knew. Mm-hmm. That home is already there. It is delivered. We just don't know where it is yet. And I'm going to change my prayers from asking and wanting to gratefulness and thanking. And I've noticed that there's been a different relationship between not only me and God, but me and you.
That's true. That's true. Not to freak people out, but we've gotten really intense.
We're like demon casting.
Yeah, we are literally casting demons. I was kind of skirting around it, but she said it.
Well, I'm not, rosary and holy water and chicken blood and things like that.
We're not inviting Linda Blair over for dinner. I'm just saying.
Actually, she'd be fun.
She'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, they just all the demons we have, despair and fear and all of this. Like I said, we're not going to get into details. We may, after all of this passes, just to give you a cautionary tale. However, for now, there's some legalities involved, and I don't want to.
I would rather do it through humor.
And we have been. We've hinted at it in other sketches we've done, that kind of thing.
I mean, we have a whole series of Slumlord University that are 100% based on real
stuff,
events.
and now we have more.
Now we have more.
Now, I've started writing it. We'll have it next week. I'm saying it publicly so that we will have it.
Tales of modern horror, those are often based on real events.
Yeah.
And
now, there will sometimes be exaggeration for humorous effect.
Even Max's interviews are based on real events. So.
That's true. And real people, believe it or not.
For sure, yeah.
So it's important to pray like you mean it. It's like anybody can do an oatmeal floppy prayer. And I mean, if that's what you are capable of, that's what you should do. Mm-hmm. If you understand, and I will no longer be talking about the law of attraction to any great extent, but it is kind of the same principle. You go in believing that God will provide it, and sometimes God's answer is going to be, no.
You're cute, Pat.
That's cute, ha, ha, ha. The reason that's happening isn't because He doesn't want you to have it. It's because He wants you to have better, and He will provide it. If you believe, He will provide. He saved our marriage. He saved my health. He's done so many amazing things for me. And I know I've said it before, but I'm going to seminary school. My goal is to start next fall. If it can happen sooner, that's great. But we have some other financial things I need to make sure are taken care of, or starting to be taken care of first, out of fairness to my wife and a lot of other things. But this is going to happen, and I've already started shooting videos. I haven't posted any of them yet, but I've started to shoot videos about our journey, or my journey to get to this place. And they'll show up on our usual channels, but also on a couple of independent ones, mostly out of curiosity. I want to see what the response will be on smaller social media and video platforms. So we'll see what happens. We seem to get better responses on stuff like BitChute or Rumble than we do on, well,
And
you
we
know,
do have a
those guys.
a locals
And
channel.
a locals
so
channel.
By all means, head on over to locals and let's get some joining going on.
Yeah. Anything you want to add before we get to our usual
Meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
Well, did we want to bring up? We still don't have a stinger for TDSer of the week. We need to make one for that.
You know, it's just a lot of people are blaming. I mean, it's the press as usual.
This
But-
one's really a stretch, though.
Yeah, they're blaming him for Hamas bombing Israel. The guy who finally followed through on decades of promises to Israel by bringing the embassy to Jerusalem, the Abraham Accords. You know, he has a Jewish son-in-law, for Pete's sake. They're blaming him for this.
They're so desperate. They're so desperate and so deep in cognitive dissonance. It's actually it was at first maddening and frustrating. Then it became comical, and now it's just sad and pathetic.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. It's gotten to the point where it's like, oh, honey, I am so sorry for what your news has done to you.
By the way, we still continue to pray for the state of Israel. We are praying for the innocent people on both sides who are caught up in this nonsense. We pray for an end to this. I mean, I despise Hamas. If you are a terrorist, you are not welcome here. There's talk of bringing in Palestinian refugees, and
No.
my thought is,
No.
okay, Israel won't take them. The surrounding Arab states aren't taking them.
I don't
We're
want
already taking in more than our
I
fair
don't want
share. Why do we
indoctrinated
need to do that?
terrorists here. No,
No.
no.
That's just setting up another 9/11 is basically what that will do. So it may sound racist, it may sound anti-Islam, whatever. I'm not anti any religion.
I'm anti-Islam, and I'm not afraid to say it.
I know.
He's a child-raping, psychotic, warmongering liar.
Yeah, I know.
Who his entire cult will get set off if you even so much as draw a line drawing of him.
Yeah.
Imagine being so hideously ugly that you convince your entire cult to try to kill people if they try to draw you.
Yeah.
Talk about a pathetic, dog-hating, child-raping psychotic.
And we were going to stay nice and positive. See what I mean? All right.
It's positive.
It's positive. We positively don't want them here. Okay.
I studied Islam. What can I say?
Fair enough.
A lot of Muslims can't even say that.
Yeah, that's true.
But, you know, when your family is born out of rape and hatred, and, I mean, granted, we have several cultists here that are chopping off the body parts of their children, same as, you know, the hardcore Muslims will do that to their daughters. I can understand why they think they're on the same side, but I think liberals are in for a big surprise when they find out how all of their gay pride nonsense and their trans ridiculousness does not agree with this religion of peace.
Well,
and
let's put it.
Canada's getting a little taste of that right now.
Let me cut in because Melanie pointed out this meme to me that I just found hilarious. There are actually groups of students. Yeah, it's mostly college students that are gays for Palestine, and I'm like,
queers in support of Palestine. It's a real thing. They have a banner and everything.
And so why don't you just throw yourselves off the balcony, because that's what they're going to do to you if they ever get power here.
Yeah.
Do you not read? I mean, I'm not even saying do you not read the news, because the news is a bunch of baloney anyway. But are you not paying attention?
Mm-mm. No, they're not.
Yeah.
We have taken institutions like Harvard and turned it into moronic indoctrination, crybaby, infantile. They are literally coming out dumber. I have students that I've taught, for the last 6 years. I have some students that I still have. And once they go to college, the first year that they contact me and they're like, oh, I need help with this or that, they are literally dumber than they were going in. Literally. And noticeably. Like, obviously dumber. The questions they ask, they even go backwards in math. I mean, I'll have a kid that goes all the way up through calculus in high school, and they get into college and they're set back all the way to Algebra 1 and still can't figure out fractions. College makes them dumber, and they're spending an insane amount of money.
Well, it's not because it's not about it's not. I mean, unless you are doing something that requires a lot of knowledge, we're talking like attorneys,
lawyer,
doctors, scientists,
nuclear physicists,
that kind of thing. Yeah, get the degree, but
otherwise, learn a trade. Make yourself useful.
Where I'm going with it is that yes, for one thing, what Melanie just said, there's no shame in getting a VOTEC degree. In fact, you're going to be better off. You won't have to pay back as much, and you'll actually make more money than a lot of these college graduates.
My stepdad got a 2-year degree at Renton Vocational College. He's now basically a millionaire, getting to do whatever he wants. Bought a whole bunch of property.
He got in at Boeing in Seattle.
Slapped a house down on it, built this gorgeous barn, gets to travel, gets to do whatever he wants. And he started out with a 2-year degree. That's it.
Right.
That's all.
So, but the thing is, they don't care about the actual stuff that's going to get you employed anymore.
No, they just care about money.
There's always been, at least since the 1960s, there's always been an element of, yes, we want to express ourselves. We want free speech. Fantastic. I still support that. Although now they've gone the other way and they're trying to suppress voices they don't like. But that was always a part of it, and a wonderful part of college. But now it's the college. I'm seeing that the educational, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody listening in now or in the future, but they seem to care more about promoting political agendas than they are about actually learning about the nuts and bolts of life that are going to make you a more highly educated, therefore marketable person.
Well, and this is by design, and it's so I'm so frustrated at people pretending like it's some sort of crazy conspiracy theory. They told us 40 years ago, this is in Rules for Radicals, this is Marxist ideology, this is what they said they were going to do. We are going to get to your children. If the state owns your children, it's all over. And we just sat back and went, oh, that's silly, that's a conspiracy theory, me. And now look where we are.
Yeah.
Because of a bunch of complacent, lazy, whiny
I think
people who aren't willing to fight back.
To give some people the benefit of the doubt, I said some people. I think people were complacent because they thought, no, it could possibly happen. It's the same thing that the same thought set, the mindset that brought us 9/11 is that we're too big to fail. I mean, I'm predating Obama saying it. But what I'm saying is, we're just, nobody's going to do that. They did Pearl Harbor. Look what happened. We nuked them off the face of the earth, sort of, kind of. But we didn't.
Yeah, but now we're the laughingstock of the entire planet.
Well, that'll eventually change.
Putin never would have done what he did if Trump were in office. Biden basically golden retrievered him through the front door and showed him where the family jewels are.
Yeah.
And he did the same. We're paying for both sides of both wars thanks to Biden.
Yeah.
Hamas attacked Israel with weapons that they got from the U.S. Mm-hmm. Both sides
not
of both
directly
wars.
Necessarily, but they are American-made weapons.
Doesn't have to be directly.
They're American-made and provided weapons. And I've heard people argue, hey, that $6 billion was specifically earmarked for this, that, or the other. Listen, before you go off on it, let me say something. No one said it was those precise $6 billion. I'm going to say that one more time. No one said it was going to be those particular $6 billion. They may have had it in their budget to have X amount of dollars for quote unquote defense, and X number of dollars that they felt necessary to put into education and infrastructure and all of that. But when $6 billion of your assets are suddenly unfrozen, that frees up more money to do these things. And if you understand anything about the Middle East culture outside of Israel, all of their surrounding neighbors want them annihilated off the face of the earth. Israel would be willing to coexist with these nations by and large. I mean, yeah, they'd prefer not to, but let's face facts. They have these guys around them, and it's like, okay, let's coexist. However, when they had all that extra money freed up, well, now they can use more money to send into these terrorist groups. Now, Hamas has therefore been funded by the Biden administration. Once again, not those $6 billion necessarily, although they could, but nobody's saying, okay, this whatever the monetary unit is in Iran, this particular bill with this serial number is going to go over here, this one's going to go over there. That's not how it works. So stop saying the money's not going. We know that it's probably not those exact $6 billion. No, and by the way, just because they say they're going to do this with the money or that with the money doesn't mean they are. It's a government. Government lies to you. Our own government lies to us.
That's our government
specialty. Which is why we're in this mess, funding both sides of a war, and then Biden has the gall, and usually Melanie's the one who screams about Biden, but Biden had the gall to say, we're supporting you, we're on your side. No, Joe. No, Joe. You're not on their side.
Joe doesn't even
Israel
know what
hasn't
side he's on.
Israel hasn't sent you money in big boxes, okay? Ukraine has. Don't deny it, pal. You yourself admitted to it on a number of times, at least once anyway. So we're done. I'm done ranting. I took your rant and moved it a few extra yards.
All right. Well, you are allowed to be the rant master every now and then.
Thank you. But I really can't hold a candle to you. But I try. I mean, actually, I don't try.
Not everybody...
I'm the guy who's like, okay, let's look at both sides of the story. And my blushing bride is like, no, they're a bunch of child raping. I'm not going to deny that.
I'm not going to be the old, religion of peace nonsense.
I don't buy into the religion of peace at all.
And they can jihad me all they darn want.
Since 2001, I have not bought into it. Actually, I didn't buy into it after they raided the embassy and held the hostages before Reagan came in and said, well, I'm here. So...
But the thing is wrong, and we're supposed to call it out. I'm not saying hate people that are innocent. I'm not saying hate people.
No.
If they are a member of a violent cult, you have to say, all right, get out.
Yeah.
Or we're going to have to take care of you.
Right. You can take care of it or we'll take care of it. And believe me, you'd rather take care of it.
I don't think we should be involved at all. It's not our damn business. And I'm pretty sick of having to support all sides of all wars all the time. When we can't even keep our own borders secure and we can't even feed and house our own people.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
And this is one of the reasons why I'm supporting anti-war candidates. No one in the neocon / warmongering bi-party system is going to get my vote. that goes from mayor of a city up to the president of the United States. I won't do it anymore. That's my line in the sand. Also, I got 2 lines in the sand. That one and the border. And like I said, RFK Jr. says he'll seal up the border, and he actually came to a change of mind about that subject. By the way, he didn't. He originally was, in lockstep with Biden about this, but now he saw the errors of his ways, and he's not going to do that. He's going to, add more to the wall, whatever, as long as it's somebody who's willing to do that and to work towards stop sending our money to other countries when we weren't even able to protect the children of Maui. Well, not just the children, but Maui in general.
I noticed that we haven't heard anything about Maui at
Of course
all.
not.
We haven't gotten an updated tool.
It's been Epstein. It's been
nothing out there. Yeah.
It's been Ghislaine Maxwell. It's
Yeah.
just it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So,
Our own people, and just throw them away. Like,
So pray for our country.
I wish that our nation had the guts that it had when it was first founded. I wish that people would rise up together and stop paying taxes until they fixed this. But people have become so terrified of what the big daddy government can do to them that they'll basically bow to every whim. I was talking to somebody up in Seattle just last week.
Mm-hmm.
And how she's absolutely being pelted by all these fees and fines and things that you're allowed to do on your own property that you own. What they can tell you where you're allowed to park your own car. You're not allowed to drive on your own grass. You have to have a certain amount of cement and this and that, and they can fine you and whatever goes on inside your home. No. They are our employees, and they need to be treated as such. But what we have are a bunch of whiny, wimpy crybabies that are willing to do whatever Big Daddy government says because they're too chicken to stand up and say no. If the whole nation actually stopped whining and stopped watching Dancing with the Stars for 5 minutes and stood up together in solidarity and said, we're not paying taxes, we're not funding you, we're not voting you in, we're not supporting you, you don't get a raise, you don't get to stay in a fancy office, you don't get to live in 2 places at once, you don't get to have giant mansions, you're going to fix this or you're going to get the hell out, something would get done. But we're too lazy and soft.
COVID-19, the reaction to it, no matter whether you got a jab or didn't get a jab or whatever, the way people reacted to this and just bowed to the whims of the government unquestioningly.
Turned in their own neighbors, their own families sometimes.
And went on Facebook screaming that they were proud of doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
The way they want censorship, they want it.
Yeah. So, thanks, guys.
We're doomed.
Thanks, guys.
We're literally doomed, and they did it to us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think Israel should even for a nanosecond, capitulate to a made-up, non-real nation that never existed. People just gave them land every now and then because they threw hissy fits. They've given up their land. They've given up their freedom. They've lost their children to these terrorists that we're funding, apparently. When they literally in their government doctrine, and I don't know, it's not a constitution, it's not a manifesto, I don't know what the heck they call it, but it literally has that they want to eradicate eradicate Israel. They want to eradicate all Jews. It's literally in their doctrine. They published it. They're proud of it.
Once again, it is a region. It is not a nation.
Yeah, and for those who are trying to say apartheid and all this garbage, no. It was not their land. It never was their land. It never will be their land. It's not a thing. Never has been. The only reason they got Gaza was because Israel was kind enough to let them have it. And I think enough is enough. Enough is enough. You're just a bunch of terrorists taking advantage of everybody around you. You proved what you are. You showed the world what you are. And anybody who supports them, you're disgusting.
So we were going to keep this nice and upbeat. And
So how about we go into news of the weird and wonderful?
Hey! Yeah, let's...
Well, you got me started. And,
I know, I didn't mean to. Actually,
all right, but we
kinda
can't.
meant to.
We can do this. We're at the top of the hour, but we have lots of time to share some news of the weird and wonderful, and we've got some doozies of stories. So let's head on into
Absolutely.
CounterCultureWISE is proud to present News of the Weird and Wonderful. Here are your hosts, Melanie Hope and Jim Monis.
that. Of course, we always like to start with a little bit more weird than wonderful. This is kind of a balance, I guess.
Kind of, yes.
All right, this is Greenwood, Arkansas. Ricky Doherty spends most of his days playing with his grandchildren, feeding chickens, and working in the yard where he lives with his son's family. I want chickens in a yard. God's sending me chickens in a yard. Well, yard first, then chickens. It's a jarring change from where he was just several months ago, locked in a cell, serving a life prison sentence at Oklahoma's Joseph Harp Correction Center in a killing he said he did not commit.
Oh.
Of course, everybody in prison is innocent.
Everybody
We know that,
says,
yeah.
I didn't do it. So, yeah.
After more than 2 decades behind bars, Doherty had no chance at being released until he used his pandemic relief funds to hire a dogged private investigator.
Huh.
What
All
are
right.
these relief funds of which they're speaking?
No, we got it. I got it.
The investigator and students at the Oklahoma Innocence Project at Oklahoma City University, which is dedicated to exonerating wrongful convictions in the state, found inconsistencies in the state account of a 1997 cold case killing, and Doherty's conviction was vacated in June by Sequoyah County judge. Now the 65-year-old says he's enjoying the 5-acre property in a quiet neighborhood of well-to-do homes in the rolling forested hills of Arkansas River Valley outside of Fort Smith. If you're gone for a lot of years, you don't take it for granted anymore. So they go on to tell you a little bit more about this agency. He's one of more than 3,400 people who have been exonerated since 1989, mostly over murder convictions, according to the National Registry of Exonerations. And Oklahoma alone, there have been more than 43 in that time, including 3 new exonerations this year. So it's a little terrifying that somebody can be sent to prison for something they literally did not do.
It happens.
Well,
Our system isn't perfect. It's good. It's really good, but it ain't perfect.
well, and then there's another part of that I don't think people are thinking of. It's like, okay, not only did this guy go to jail for something he didn't do and has been fully exonerated, but what about the victim's family? They never got peace. They never got
Right.
justice. And that means that the real person is still out there. I mean, how horrific. If you actually went to bed at night thinking, okay, my mother's killer or my daughter's whatever is behind bars and I can sleep peacefully, and then you find out, okay, this dude that I've been hating on or whatever all these years, it turns out he didn't do it.
Right.
That means real dudes out there still,
Right.
probably doing it again.
Probably.
How horrific is that? I can't even fathom. And then all of that closure that you got. And I mean, I know these people spend years in therapy and sometimes even go visit them in prison.
Ultimately, the only closure you really get is when they nail your coffin shut. When that kind of thing happens.
I don't want a coffin. I want to be planted under a tree.
Okay, I was trying to be dramatic, and it's like, okay,
It is close. That's a good pun.
let's
though.
raise a
Closer.
tree. Okay, it's fine.
All right. Anyways, God bless him. May he spend the rest of his days free and enjoying his chicken and his beautiful old restored GMC
Absolutely.
there.
Congratulations and good
I'm
luck
glad
to
that
you.
these organizations exist and are actually getting these. I mean, I can't even imagine losing that much of my life over something I really honestly did not do. Stupid lie detectors don't work, do they?
No, they're crap.
All right, your turn.
All right.
Did Allie send this one to you? Because this sounds like something that would happen to her.
Yes. A rope rescue team responded to a cave to rescue a dog trapped 40 feet down a narrow opening, and they encountered a bear.
Oh, my.
The Waldens Creek Volunteer Fire Department said the Sevier County Technical Rope Rescue Team was activated when a dog named Charlie fell down a narrow opening and was trapped 40 feet down. The department said Charlie had been trapped in the cave for 3 days.
Aww,
A rescuer was
Charlie.
poor Pooch. A rescuer was lowered into the cave, but quickly exited when he discovered Charlie was not alone in the cave. There was a 200-pound black bear just feet away.
What? How did the bear get in, but Charlie couldn't get out?
He's a bear; he can do what he wants. Rescuers waited until the bear left the area and went back down to bring Charlie to the surface. Charlie was dehydrated and hungry, but otherwise uninjured.
Well, Charlie was really lucky that the bear didn't get a little miffed.
Yeah, that's...
Well, I'm glad Charlie's home and that the ropey thing exists, because that's different. Oh, I should have let you read this one because I know how much you like old Tony here.
Yeah, I'll read it.
Okay.
We can switch. Besides, I think you'd really enjoy the next one. So, there's this was in Detroit. A nonprofit set up 12,952 cereal boxes in Detroit and toppled them like dominoes to break a Guinness World Record. Move for Hunger attempted the feat Thursday at Henry Ford Detroit Pistons Performance Center, aiming to break the record of 6,391, which was set by Long Beach Middle School in New York in 2021. The cereal box domino chain was set off by Kellogg's mascot, Tony the Tiger. Video of the toppling boxes, and you can see him there on the video, which is really cool. It was great. Video of the toppling boxes was posted to social media. The boxes of cereal used in the attempt will now be donated to Forgotten Harvest and Gleaners Community Food Bank. Thanks, guys. That's fantastic.
That's pretty cool. So all of those, that's a lot of cereal.
That is a bunch of cereal.
I wouldn't really call cereal food, but hey, if you're hungry.
I think that Tony the Tiger would be very hurt by what you just said. He wouldn't feel so great if he heard that from you. He'd be a very, very disappointed little Tony. Max would have to console him.
Well, that's okay because this next article is for Max.
Yay.
The way to your pet's heart may be through toys or treats, but if you're like half of pet parents, physical touch is their furry friends' preferred love language. A survey of the owners. I thought they were actually surveying the pets. A survey of 2,000 cat and dog owners found that whether petting them, 83%, or giving them hugs and kisses, 62%, respondents believe they are speaking their pet's love language. Then I think Max's love language is, let me out, let me out, let me out. It's all he wants these days.
He's been pounding the door and screaming all day long. I'm surprised he's not doing it right now.
Ever since Sadie taught him how to ring the bells to go out, that's like his favorite thing in the world. And he's at my feet and cleaning himself right now. So, the next most popular pet love language is quality time, which included letting their four-legged furry friends sleep in their bed, playtime, and bringing their pet along when they can. Yeah, that's another thing that we made the mistake of is we got those buttons that they can press that say things. So we have one that says playtime, and it's next to their favorite toys that we don't let them keep because they tend to shred them. So they're supervised toys that we play with them. And this morning, here I am in bed, half asleep.
I'm trying to just make coffee and get...
Yeah, kind of in and out of slumber, and I'm hearing, playtime! And then she'll smack her head against the door, and then she'll do it again, playtime! And then she'll smack her head against the door, and it's like, oh, God.
She's a headbanger.
Sadie
is a headbanger.
Sadie is a head. She really wanted playtime this morning, and she kept smacking on that button. So she smacks on that button. The cuddles button actually got smacked on so much that it's broken. So we just... Yeah, so your pets will speak if you get the buttons, and boy, Sadie picked it up instantly. If she rings the bells and we don't come out there, she starts stomping on the go potty bell. It's hilarious. The button. Yeah, Max hasn't taken to the buttons yet, but he's all over the bells.
I think if we had one set up on the dining room table, because we have a little corner where he's allowed to eat.
You think he would press the
I think
food
he would
button?
press if it was a Feed Me Father button, that would be...
Okay, well, we do have an extra button, so we'll do a Feed Me Father button and see how that goes. All right, and almost 2/3 of those surveyed believe that they share the same love language with their pet. My love language is doing the dishes, so... Conducted by one poll on behalf of Nulo Pet Food, of course, the survey confirmed that food still speaks volumes to pets and that 53% of owners aim to serve high-quality meals. Of course, they had to put that in there because it's by a pet food company. But they're saying 95% of owners believe that showing affection. I'm pretty sure that's true. Because I know just today after we went to the dog park, yes, we go to the dog park after church, and Sadie was rolling around in the mud and everything, and she came home just covered in snot and slobber and everything else. I take out the baby wipes and I put one in each hand and I just go baby wipe, and I rub them up and down. She thinks that is the bestest thing in the whole wide world. I'm basically giving her a bath, and when most dogs don't like baths, but she just really, really digs it because it feels like I'm petting her. So yeah, I agree with that one. All right, folks, we got to pay a couple of bills. And we're going to come back with a couple of This Is Why We Can't Have Nice Things. And then we'll talk to Mr. Vander Molen and wrap it all up with a nice pretty bow and a couple of extra wonderfuler stories. So
Sounds
don't
like
go
fun,
anywhere.
doesn't it, folks? So stick around for the second half.
We'll be right back.
Leaders, listen up. Do you feel like you can't get a dang thing done because of all the namsy-pamsy crybabies that want you to coddle their creativity? When you give orders, are you met with vacant stares only rivaled by a cocker spaniel? It's not them. It's you. You need to shape up or they'll ship you out. Read The Sniper's Guide to Leadership, and you will become a more effective leader, communicator, and motivator. Forget SMART goals and learn SWIFT goals. Get The Sniper's Guide to Leadership in paperback, Kindle, and Nook. Today!
Any bank that's worth a bag of salt these days offers you alerts about your balance and your credit score. But is just knowing your balance really helping you? You need honest, in-the-moment financial advice from a trusted voice. At For Reals Bank, we are taking it to the next level. Introducing For Reals Alerts, the most honest money messaging you've ever experienced. You choose the voice that best fits your personality and needs, and we'll do the rest.
Dang, girl, you's a broke-ass hoe. You need to slow down and stop spending your baby daddy's hard-earned money. And what are you doing shopping at Macy's? You could have got that at the dollar store.
For the love of God, stop buying her drinks! Dude, she's already told you she's not going out with you! Besides, your alcoholic ass doesn't have any money left! Where were you gonna take her, the laundromat? For God's sake, stop already!
All right, lardass. After the 4th Arby's and 7th McDonald's transaction this week, we've locked your account for any more purchases outside of protein powder and a gym membership. Start walking and stop driving through, lardball!
According to our records, your savings balance is currently $0.08. Your most recent transaction was a withdrawal of $5,452,926.48, made 5 hours ago by your now former business partner, Bob. Bob is now on a private plane with your wife heading for an undisclosed island in the Pacific. I have connected to your GPS and am now searching for the tallest building nearby with an accessible roof.
Go to forrealsbank.com to sign up today. For Reals Bank, member FDIC, the Federally Dependent Idiots Committee.
Yeah, I get it. Your parents were jerks and you're traumatized. But that doesn't mean you should use your lousy childhood as an excuse to be a lousy adult. Stop being such a whiner and get past your past already. Buy Get Over It and Get Started, the book by Melanie Hope that will get you out of your self-imposed failure and on the road to greatness. Available in paperback, Kindle, and Nook.
Walking along the beach alone, I see him. Before our eyes even meet, I know that his manly presence will be so toxic. How do I overcome this emotional intrusion and still assert who I am deep in my soul?
Now from Oscar Pelarenta, a new fragrance for today's social justice warrior. Introducing Ree.
I am my own woman. I am my own man. I am my own gender fluid. I am... What was I again?
Ree. Oscar Pelarenta's new fragrance for overpowering the patriarchy and igniting the new social order. Available at Guido's Pizza.
Is on way.
Hi, everybody. This is Jim from CounterCultureWISE with my newest jingle about our store. I don't mean to be intrusive, but just have a look at our exclusive stuff you just can't find in any store. Click on the big store link and find mugs that you can drink from, and shirts and hoodies and mouse pads and much more.
What is that awful sound?
Chop it, woman. I'm just getting started.
Oh, boy.
Where was I? Oh, yeah. Buy our crap and come support us. Whatever thing you can afford us, so our mean old landlord doesn't throw us in the street. We've got goggle stuff to deck your place, and Max's gorgeous orange face, and FBI and mooing slabs of meat.
Stop already.
No way, Toots. I'm on a roll. I can't emphasize enough how much you need to buy our stuff so I can live a better life chock full of luck. If after everything I've said I haven't gotten through your head, then it's really clear you just don't give a...
Yeah, no!
I want what I want, woman!
And we want you to check out our great official gear at counterculturewise.com. Radio with heart in mind.
Now, see, that's why we can't have nice things. All right, a few nice things before we head into the nice interview with the nice man. Oh, my.
Oh, my.
I think it's your turn for this one, dear.
All right. If only my computer would keep up with me here. All right. By the way, buy our stuff. Go to our website.
Yeah.
And other filler phrases while I'm waiting for this thing to actually come up.
On the ad that you were singing.
Oh.
If you
buy our stuff.
You should, instead of sitting there eating chips and dip, you should have been getting ready for the show, Jim.
A new Oklahoma judge could lose her job for sending more than 500 texts to her bailiff during a murder trial, including messages mocking the prosecutor, praising the defense attorney, and calling the key witness a liar. Wow. I'll bet this one's under 30. What do you want to bet?
I bet this is how Trump's...
The Chief Justice of the Oklahoma Supreme Court recommended the removal of Lincoln County District Judge Tracy Soderstrom. Yeah, she looks under 30. In a court filing Tuesday following an investigation by the state's Council on Judicial Complaints. Soderstrom has been under scrutiny since July after she was caught on camera scrolling through social media and texting during the trial of a man accused in the fatal beating of a 2-year-old. Soderstrom, who was sworn in on January...
I'm surprised they even let her have her phone.
They shouldn't. Soderstrom, who was sworn in on January 9th after being elected in November, was suspended with pay pending the outcome of a hearing by the court on the judiciary, which will determine...
suspended with pay basically just a vacation?
Yes.
She got a paid vacation for doing that.
You got to understand, this is a legal system. There has to be a presumption of innocence, even for a judge. So I get that. I should have been a lawyer. Dude, seriously. Anyway. Yeah.
We wouldn't be in the house we're in now.
No, we wouldn't.
If you could do that, chop, chop.
I'm doing the minister thing, chop, chop. I can't do everything, chop, chop. course, a lawyer would make more money than most ministers. But anyway, not important. Would determine whether or not to remove her from the bench. The pattern of conduct demonstrates respondents that Soderstrom's gross neglect of duty, gross partiality, and oppression, Chief Justice John Kane IV wrote. Ooh, John Kane IV. The conduct further demonstrates respondents' lack of temperament to serve as judge. I'll bet there were warning signs, but anyway.
You think?
Yeah. A phone call to a number listed for Soderstrom rang unanswered before disconnecting Wednesday. Her attorney told the Oklahoma newspaper that the judge takes these allegations very seriously and is requesting the entire record from the counsel on judicial complaints so that she can respond appropriately. Security video published by the Oklahoman showed Soderstrom texting or messaging for minutes at a time during jury selection, opening statements and testimony during the trial in Chandler, about 45 miles northeast of Oklahoma City. It looks like we got a phone addict there.
A little bit, yeah.
The judge's text included saying the prosecutor was sweating through his coat during questioning of potential jurors and asking, why does he have baby hands, according to Kane's petition.
So this is the judge.
We're
not talking a juror.
Right, we're not talking one of the attorneys and his client or her client joking with each other. This isn't the actual judge who is supposed to be paying attention to the case and not drawing instant conclusions. The text described the defense.
The guy got a new hearing.
The text described the defense attorney as awesome and asked, "Can I clap for her?" during the defense attorney's opening arguments. Soderstrom also texted a laughing emoji icon to the bailiff, who had made a crass and demeaning reference to the prosecuting attorneys general, as Kane wrote. Christian Tyler Marshall, the man who was on trial while the judge was on her phone, was eventually convicted of second-degree manslaughter in the 2018 death. So it was an actual manslaughter case. How nice.
Oh, wonderful.
The son of...
And now we know why so many people get convicted wrongfully.
The man who was on trial while the judge was on her phone was eventually convicted of second-degree manslaughter in the 2018 death of Braxton Danker, the son of Martzel's girlfriend, and sentenced to time served. Martzel's girlfriend and the mother of the child, Judith Danker, pleaded guilty to enabling child abuse. She was sentenced to 25 years and was a key prosecution witness who was called a liar by Soderstrom during testimony. State just couldn't accept that a mom could kill her kids, so they went after the next person available, Soderstrom texted, according to the filing from Kane. She needs to have every dollar she earned as a judge taken away from her.
Absolutely.
She
needs to be
beyond.
prosecuted herself.
Soderstrom's text also included comments questioning whether a juror was wearing a wig if a witness had teeth, and calling a police officer who testified pretty, adding, "I could look at him all day."
Who is she texting? Who's on the other side of this?
The bailiff.
Why are either one of them allowed to have their phones in court?
No, they shouldn't. That should be an absolute. Everybody shuts their phone off, especially the dang judge and the bailiff. Pay attention, dorks. No, I'm done reading. She doesn't deserve the job.
I could look at him all day. When questioned by the counsel on judicial complaints, Soderstrom said her texting, quote, "probably could have waited," rather than realizing the content should have never been made. She then said, "Oh, that's funny. Move on."
Whatever.
Wow.
She needs to be...
Well, the sad thing is, this is what we're turning out of college right now. This completely circles back to what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
A bunch of self-centered, entitled, soft brats that cannot function in polite society.
Well, here's the thing. She also needs to have her... she also needs to be disbarred.
Yeah.
Completely. Just done.
Yeah.
If she's found guilty.
She's not willing or able to do her job. Yeah.
Then just get her disbarred.
Absolutely.
Never flipping burgers.
She's dangerous to society in that role.
500 texts.
Speaking of
during a murder trial.
Yeah. I thought it was a juror. I didn't realize it was.
No, it
Good
was the actual
Lord.
judge.
That is just insane. Well, speaking of double backing and circling to the earlier portion of the show, I remember when I was a little girl and I got to go to Sunday school that we had coloring books and there was always pictures of like Jesus sitting on the rock saying, "Let the little children come to me."
Sure,
or,
the usual
breaking
stuff.
the lobes and whatnot. And we had
Right.
coloring books and we would do that. And it, we're not exactly sure what Jesus looked like, but it does say that he was, fair, good-looking dude, whatever. Imagine if your prophet was so hideously ugly that if you drew him, you could end up getting killed for it. Yeah, I'm not joking. A Kenyan publishing company has withdrawn a primary school book that featured a drawing of the Prophet Muhammad following uproar by Muslim leaders and parents. Under Islam, depictions of the Prophet are seen as blasphemous, as the religion forbids visual representations of both the Prophet and Allah or God. Usually cult leaders are good looking. Too bad for this one, huh? No wonder he hated dogs.
Was he historically ugly?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, why would that be a thing? Students were reportedly asked to color in the illustration, which appeared in a book on Islamic studies. Of course, they had to send a letter to the Muslim community that it had been made aware of the content in one of its books. Mentor Encyclopedia Grade 2 was sacrilegious. We sincerely and wholeheartedly apologize for the error, wah, wah, blah, blah, yardy, yardy. And then they tell you about how it's the second largest faith in Kenya. French school teacher Samuel Paty was beheaded after using cartoons of the Prophet during a lesson about freedom of speech.
Natch.
Because this is the religion of peace. Yes. It's not the first time, and it certainly won't be the last, and we need to stop apologizing to terrorists. All right.
All right, this is from our backyard.
Oh, no. This is literally in our backyard.
A Waco man, also known as a wacko man, pleaded guilty Tuesday to murder and aggravated assault 3 years after police said he lured two men to isolated locations through a dating app and shot them, killing one. He was also the prime suspect in a third shooting that same night, but has not been charged in that non-fatal shooting. Demarion Trammell DeGrate, 20, maybe it's DeGrate.
He's so young.
Degraded, 20, was initially charged in 2020 with the murder of Jonathan Deshaun Breeding, 23, and the aggravated assault of another man. Waco police said the three shootings occurred in the early morning hours of August 17, 2020.
That was right here?
It was in Waco. And victims in all three shootings had messaged DeGrate through the gay dating app Grindr and planned to meet with him.
Of course.
On Thursday, DeGrate, the not-so-great DeGrate, was offered a plea deal of 40 years for the murder charge and 20 years for aggravated assault charge to be served concurrently. He accepted the deal Friday and formally pleaded guilty Tuesday morning in Waco's 19th State District Court, appearing by Zoom.
Are they going to tell us what his motive was?
Don't know. I'm not there yet. I have no idea. Hopefully. Multiple members of Breeding's family and one of the men DeGrate shot gave victim impact statements in court. Sylvia Glean, Breeding's grandmother, said through tears that she and her grandson had a very close relationship and said she will miss his smile and his hardworking, ambitious attitude towards life, a life she said DeGrate stole. Glenn also said Breeding's life was not the only life DeGrate stole from her family. She said Breeding's mother suffered a stroke and died shortly after Breeding's murder due to the grief, stress, and anxiety she suffered as a result of her son's death. You not only took Jonathan's life, you took his mother's life as well, Glenn said. So you not only took one life, you took two lives from me. She said her grandson had so much more to offer in life. Glenn also said DeGrate, who is 17 at the time of the murder, wasted his own life as well. Jasmine Breeding, Jonathan Breeding's sister, said her brother's murder ripped a hole in her family and changed them forever. She said Jonathan was her best friend and said that although he received justice, nothing can bring him back. Our souls haven't been free Since you took my brother, she said, there's no phone in heaven. Well, you don't really know that, but technically. Ramashay Brandon, Breeding's cousin, said Breeding's murders caused much grief and anxiety for her family. She said on the night of his murder, Breeding believed he was meeting someone who genuinely wanted to get to know him and connect with him. And she said anyone who did know him would know him as a kind and loving person.
You don't find someone who genuinely wants to get to know you and connect with you on Grindr, for crying out loud.
You know, you got to start somewhere, I guess. People get these things confused. Instead, Brandon met Breeding. Instead, Brandon said Breeding met DeGreat, someone with sinister intentions who killed her cousin for no reason.
Nothing but professionalism here at CounterCultureWISE Studios, folks. Nothing but professionalism.
I hate that Jonathan met the devil that night, Brandon said. I hate that the only thing I have left of him is memories. I hope you never rest and get the sleepless nights that we have had for the last 3 years. The first man DeGreat shot also gave a statement. He said he still suffers from the effects of the shooting more than 3 years later. He said the bullet pierced his ribs and punctured his lung, collapsing it, and also caused damage to several other internal organs. The man said the one thing he hopes DeGreat finds in prison is remorse for shooting him and killing Breeding. DeGreat was represented by Waco attorney Abel Reyna.
They're still not giving us motive. Just total random guys, and does he just not like gays? I mean, what is...
I have no idea.
Because it goes on and on and on talking about, the victims, and that's sad, and I get that. But it doesn't say why.
I'm scrolling down.
I am too, and I can't find anything saying why he would do such a thing. I mean, I guess if you're that hateful and awful and willing to commit murder, I guess you're just crazy.
The Tribune Herald previously reported, that's the Waco paper, an indictment alleged DeGreat killed Breeding during the course of a robbery. Breeding's murder was the second of the 3 shootings. Okay. In the first shooting, DeGreat said the victim communicated the day prior and arranged to meet up according to an arrest affidavit. The victim picked up DeGreat and drove to a nearby residence to purchase drugs. So he wasn't exactly
drugs were involved, okay. That's how you make a lasting...
The face of Jesus.
Yeah.
Anyway, the victim picked up DeGreat and drove to get the drugs. DeGreat got out of the car and returned a few minutes later, shooting the man point blank at the chest about 12:30 a.m. The man was able to drive away and stopped at a nearby gas station for help. At about 2:15 p.m., police responded to the 1400 block of North 34th Street and found Breeding in his car with a gunshot wound. Breeding was bleeding. At the time, police said the car had crashed into a pole near the intersection North 34th Street and Brook Circle. No idea where that is. Breeding was taken to a local hospital where he later died. Third man was found with gunshot wounds later that night. Breeding was the only victim killed in the shootings. DeGreat was not charged with the shooting of the third man, but police at the time considered him a prime suspect in the shooting, a police press report says. Police have not indicated they have any evidence the shootings were motivated by anti-gay bias. So you had that question. They don't know. So I mean, it's iffy, but that's why you don't.
Poor family
that's
members.
why you don't meet up with people on dating apps.
Not anymore.
Yeah,
especially
it's not smart.
Ones that are named things like Grindr. Alrighty. Well, I think that's enough of why we can't have nice things.
Yeah.
How about we go into a really nice interview?
And then we'll have some nice wonderfuler.
And then we'll have some nice wonderfuler stuff
just
to
to
end on.
polish it off beautifully.
To put the cherry on the sundae that is about to take place. Enjoy, folks.
You're going to enjoy this.
Our guest tonight is a preacher, web developer, fellow barefooter, and author of The Quad Life, his autobiography about life as a quadrapaligic. Please give a warm CCW welcome to Joel Vander Molen.
Yay!
Hello.
Hi, Joel. Welcome to CounterCultureWISE. I am so excited to get to talk to you. It's been years since you and I have even talked, and you have just published a book. I'm so proud of you. I can't wait to hear all about the process and a little bit about what it's about now. I have only read the introduction because you and I kind of put this together really quickly because I was so excited.
And I guess we'll start with telling everybody how they can find you, where they can reach you, and how they can get your book.
Well, you can find me most easily on my website, joelvm.com. And from there, you can see all about me. And I have a contact page if you're, well, really interested. Not sure why you would be. But also, my book is available on Amazon. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of it. And yeah, those are the easiest ways to get me.
Okay. We will have all these links up on our website, counterculturewise.com, as well as links to your book and all of those things. Now, I understand you're in Facebook jail and we don't know why.
Yeah, I just woke up this morning to get an email and to check Facebook as I do most mornings, and it said my account had been suspended, and I didn't have a reason why. I know that every day I post at least one scripture reference depending on the day. So on January 1 or 1/1, I posted Genesis 1:1 and John 1:1. And yesterday, as of this recording, was 10:6, and I posted Mark 10:6 and another one. And I don't know if Facebook didn't like it or what, but that's.
So we're getting kicked off of
I know.
Facebook for scripture now. I get kicked off for being a bully. So you're posting scripture. Well, I think you and Jim will have a lot to talk about because Jim has made the decision to go to seminary school, and you are a preacher. So tell me a little bit about your preaching and how you got into that.
Well, my formal training is in web development or in IT, and I've been doing web development now since about 2000. And after I got out of college, I didn't find work, so I started my own business doing web development, at least part-time. And one of the early websites I did was for a local Christian school that said they did a disability awareness segment for second graders. So I'm like, well, that sounds interesting. So I investigated what they do and said that their segment consisted of watching a half-hour video. Like, well, I can probably do better than a video, maybe.
Yeah.
So I was the featured speaker for second graders later that year, and I've been doing it every year since then for that school as well as several others. Just basically telling kids how God uses people with all abilities, and that I might use my mouth for everything, but I still get the same thing done at the end. And after several years of doing that, and also starting to talk at college classes, then I started doing some evangelism in my local area, and through some friends of that and encouragement, I got my license to exhort, as it's called. So that allows me to basically be a fill-in preacher in this area. So if a pastor's on vacation, or like right now in several churches without a pastor, then I can fill in and just preach and give the word for whoever needs it. So
That's amazing.
That is great. That's great. So, what area are you in? You said your area. Where are you? Where do you live?
I am in the town of Pella, Iowa.
Okay.
So it is about 40 miles east of Des Moines.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was supposed to back up further that when I was 3 years old in February of 1985, my parents and I were on a trip from here in Pella to Des Moines, and we ended up having a car accident. In that accident, I injured or I received a C2-3 spinal cord injury. So that means my injury is between the second and third vertebrae of my neck. So I
And
can't.
how old were you when that happened?
3.
So you probably barely have any memory of anything else.
No.
Wow.
So that's why I cannot control or feel anything below my shoulders. And I'm not able to breathe on my own either.
Okay, so you are being assisted to breathe as well.
Yeah,
And if I can ask, how old are you now?
Well, it's been 38 years, so therefore, I can tell my second graders, 3 and 38, be 41.
Wow. So I'm fascinated by how positive and upbeat and godly you are given everything that you've been given. And how much of that do you think was nurture and how much of that was nature?
Well, I was blessed to go through Christian grade school and high school and Christian parents and went to church all my life, basically. But throughout school and everything, I had head knowledge and I knew everything biblically. But I didn't really, I guess, always take it to heart as much as I should. And I did have some very down times in life that getting depression and stuff. But then I looked back more into the Bible and got really into a lot of creation apologetics and outreach. And through that, really got really out of the funk that I was in, I guess, and really took it to heart. And ever since then, I've been doing whatever I can to serve God. And I say just because you can't move doesn't mean you can't be busy.
That's true. You are one busy guy. And how you and I met, we'll kind of segue a little bit now that we kind of know your story. We'll probably get a little bit more into that. But when I introduced you and how I met you was through barefooting. So what advantages does being a barefooter when you can't even feel below your shoulders? What advantages are there to that?
I get a lot of muscle spasms, they're called, that sometimes my neck and back will get stiff and all I can move is my eyes. And other times my arms and legs flop around like a fish out of water, basically. I found, especially starting in college, that if I skipped footwear, then I had a lot less spasms.
Really?
Just the stimulation, for whatever reason, does it. I mean, obviously my feet are on my footrests, so it's not like they're dangling, but it's something I found, and I like being able to do, quote, natural remedies instead of doing more medication where possible. I'm not one that says I won't take any meds, because with everything I have going on, I need some for helping in various areas. But that's how I really got into it. And also now, current in life, it's a good reminder of Romans 10, 14, and 15, that at the end basically says how beautiful are the feet of those that bring good news. I can't say anything about the looks of my feet, but I've had people ask before of why I don't have footwear on, and it can lead to a good gospel conversation, such as that, when Moses met with God the first time, he said to remove his shoes. He was on holy ground, and that he had to come on God's terms. And later on, God gave Moses the 10 Commandments of how we need to live for him. And we see by looking at those commandments that if anyone has told a lie, if they have stolen or used God's name in vain, or as Jesus said, even looking with lust is committing adultery in our hearts, that all those we have sinned against God, that we are therefore destined for hell because of that. But God gave his son that all who repent and trust in him wholly can be redeemed and their sins forgiven. So it's a twofold reason, I guess.
So barefootedness is close to godliness. See, now I'm going to use that. Where we go right now, they don't care. I'm barefoot in there. They don't care. But I have been to churches where they really get upset and they act like I'm doing something wrong. It's like, no, God said take your shoes off when you're on holy ground. So I'm the only one doing it right. So, well, Joel, pushing 40 here and you're finally getting your book out. Tell me a little bit about, I'm just teasing you. Writing a book is an amazing undertaking. Tell me a little bit about the journey and what made you want to write this book.
Yeah, I've been asked this several times, and I think I started writing around 2018. I had several people ask me, you should write a book sometime about all your life experiences. And sometimes I get the opportunity to mentor with people that have recently received a spinal cord injury, or others that maybe have a few years ago, but are having questions about things going on. So I thought it would kind of be good to help, again, to tell my story and to have a good repository for friends or family. And when I'm speaking places, anyone that wants to know. And also for mentoring people that I can help maybe point them to this, and some of my experiences may help them. It's only been out now since early September, so I haven't got that far yet, but I don't know if that's part of what my hope is, and also that with the clear gospel message in it, that it may help some people come to Christ as well.
I think that is so needed in today's society.
That was wonderful.
So needed. Jim, you got any questions?
Well, I missed part of his answer to my earlier question.
Okay. Somebody was at our door. I do apologize. So I didn't want to stop because you were on a roll. Really briefly, when he was 3 years old, he was involved in an auto accident, which basically destroyed his spine, and that's what started all of this.
Okay.
And so basically, he's only known this his entire life.
Sure. Okay.
Long story short, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like you've
I
had.
did have to step out. I apologize.
Yeah.
But okay.
Sounds like you've had absolutely amazing parents who really brought you up with Christ and put you in the right space where you could become the man that you've become.
So I've been very blessed with great parents that do a lot for me, and there's a lot of things that they aren't able to do because they need to help me, but I'm very thankful for the ones I've been given.
Amen. Amen.
Max wants to be part of the interview process here, but he tends to talk too much, so we locked him out.
And I will say that talking to you puts things in perspective, because, not to get too far into it, we've got things going on in our lives, and sometimes we think these relatively, relative to what you've been through, pretty minor stuff, and yet we allow ourselves to get discouraged. And
yeah.
I appreciate just this opportunity to talk to you. What words do you have for people who are, well, let's talk specifically, people who have been through what you're going through recently? And you mentioned what is the word you bring to them? What words of advice and that kind of thing do you bring to them?
Well, it depends on their point of how long they've been injured, for one. But we can tend to focus on the day to day. That, this day has been so bad because of whatever's been going on. But look more at long term, especially say at a point where someone was injured and then they're not able to do much or know what's going on, and how it progressed up to current day. That, anything medical takes a long time to recover from.
Yeah.
Sure.
Especially the older the person might be. And going on, if it's someone that is an adult that was injured, then may not be able to do the exact job that you used to, but
Sure.
if you want, there's still plenty of things that you can do. And the key for me again is to look always to God's word and soak yourself in it.
Do you? I know this is going to come across as an odd question, but do you think that, in a way, you are kind of at an advantage, having grown up knowing and planning and making yourself who you are, versus somebody who may say, like Christopher Reeves, who, later in life that happened to him, and now he has to completely, or had to, and God rest his soul, or somebody else, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a star or anything, but all of a sudden they have to completely redefine themselves in the middle of it all. I know it's kind of a weird question, but do you ever see somebody like that and you actually feel worse for them because of what you know?
Well, it depends on the person and their attitude quite a bit.
Yeah.
I have worked with a number of children that have a spinal cord injury and really were, the most part, there's always exceptions. Children accept it better than adults.
Yeah.
Especially young kids, because again, it's just something they've grown up like me, that it's part of me, and it's not going to change, at least immediately. So it's what I do. So like when I was injured, 85, they didn't have a lot for rehab for my age. So I did quite a bit of my own. As a kid, I learned how to play with Legos, that I would figure out how to slide bricks up each other, and then with a stick, could whack them in place. And I played with a lot of little toy tractors and trucks, just like, my grandparents on the farm that I saw them do. And for adults then that receive an injury, it's sometimes harder for them, or for late teens, whichever. But if they already have the attitude that they want to continually work to strive to better themselves or do things that are, say, beneficial to the community, then they tend to be able to get through rehab better and get on to whatever they're able to do.
That sounds like purpose makes all the difference. And kids are so resilient. And you sounded like you were really creative, which also helped. But as an adult, if you don't have a purpose, something to live for, it kind of falls apart.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah.
So I do know other adults have been injured and they've only stuck with the woe is me mentality and I can't do anything.
Yeah.
They've ended up losing their family and never go out of their apartment or house or whatever, and just stay inside all the time and watch whatever on YouTube or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they just get mad at themselves all the time.
Yeah.
Which obviously that does absolutely nothing.
Right.
That's actually something that everybody can learn. When you focus on yourself and what you can't do or what you don't have versus looking outward, And rather than focusing on the things you don't have, or your disabilities or handicaps or lack of whatever, you focus on, well, what can I offer? What can I do? It seems to me that you had that attitude right from the beginning, and that's made all the difference, and that's why you're so positive and you have so much to offer. I wish there was a way that we could instill that into everybody's brain.
Yeah.
Like, um,
Yeah, we have right now. We have a lot. We have a whole generation that really wants to do the absolute minimum as possible.
yeah,
Think that they deserve everything.
yeah,
Or to be given it for free, like schooling or whatever.
right.
No, you still need to work to do things,
And you feel better about yourself when you do. That's
yeah,
the other thing that people are forgetting. They're like, oh, we need a guaranteed minimum income, or we need this, or we want the government to do that. It's like, yeah, but you're giving up your own self-respect. You're giving up your purpose, and you end up being miserable. I mean, you're a busy dude. I mean, you are busy, busy, busy. And I think that's why, you not only are you getting things done, you wrote a book, for crying out loud, but you're also positive and upbeat because you have things to do. You have a purpose. And I know people that are able bodied and even good looking that don't have that, and they're miserable. It's like,
yeah,
so that is actually a fantastic message, an amazing message that you're putting out there. I really, really appreciate that. You talked about how when you were little, you played with trucks and cars like that. And based on your introduction and everything, you are a train watcher,
Indeed.
and you say you're still a train enthusiast. So I'd like to hear
yeah.
a little bit about that. Every little kid loves trains. Every little boy loves trains. So
Yeah.
how did you get into that as an adult, and how does that manifest today?
Yeah, well, my dad got hooked onto trains through a colleague at work, and then when I was born, I guess I had a train on my crib rail
Oh.
that I played with.
Really?
So I was quote railroaded into it early,
Very early. Railroaded.
and I remember many times of sitting out in Iowa countryside by train tracks, just waiting for trains or watching them go by. And later on in years, I started doing videos of them and putting them on YouTube. But I rarely get time to do that anymore. But it's still something I like to do. And we also, my dad and I do some model railroading as well. So we have an HO scale train layout that we work on as available. We have the ongoing somewhat debate that Dad likes older era trains of like the 50s and 60s, and I like modern stuff. So it's always all right, who stuff do we get? And
Yeah.
It's amazing how a
that
lot of those
we do.
it's amazing how a lot of those trains are so realistic looking.
Yeah.
They really pay a lot of attention to detail on those.
Yeah, and we got out of it for a few years just because of stuff going on. And I've recently really got back into it, probably the last 3 years or so. And yeah, as you said, the detail of all the models and everything has greatly increased. Prices have as well, but still, any hobby can get expensive. So,
Sure.
but I have a couple of pieces right behind my computer here I just got today that need to get on the rails. So,
One of my fondest memories as a young girl was my great uncle. His entire basement was dedicated to a train set, and with the mountains and the itty bitty people and the bridges and all those things, and that was his baby, that was his hobby. So I can imagine good time spent with your father. Of course, that raises curiosities. My first question was, okay, Joel, let's be honest. How do you take videos? How does that work?
well, I have a GoPro camera,
Mhm.
and because of not being able to breathe on my own, I need someone with me 24/7.
Mhm.
So either my caregiver will set up on a tripod and record whatever, or I also do videos just about living as a quadriplegic So sometimes I'll put it on my head and then just get a view of me rolling around wherever I'm at, like at the Iowa State Fair or something like that.
So, and are those up on your YouTube that people can watch?
Yep.
Very cool. And we'll make sure that we have at the Quad Life on YouTube. We'll make sure we have those links on there. Okay, let's talk about the process of writing the book. Did anything come out that surprised you as you started writing this book?
Well, as I started writing, obviously the first years when I was injured, I don't remember firsthand, or as I say, first stick.
He's got a sense of humor too, folks.
Everything that happened. So a lot of it was getting just recording stories and everything that I've heard. And I also interviewed the man that helped me breathe shortly after I was injured, that came up on the accident and what he remembered. And then just really starting to think back to that time period as I did. More memories came to mind on, oh yeah, we did this, that, and looking through Mom's scrapbooks, especially pictures and that kind of thing from years ago. But then progressing on through high school and into college years, I did keep some old journals that I still have on hand, and really being able to remember more on my own, just as I got older. That was a lot of it. And then trying to remember the good points and the bad, that I didn't want to hide things that people may think that everything's always good all the time. But, and also trying to say maybe how to avoid such things and to help others. And yeah, my grandparents were, my dad's parents especially, were some of the people that helped me a lot, especially in evenings, say that when my parents want to go on a trip or something like that, they couldn't get away if they don't have anyone to watch me. So my grandparents did, and in 2019, early or so, I remember my grandpa saying that he hoped he'd be able to get to read my book before he died, but unfortunately that did not happen. And that really drove me to go ahead and finish it. And so he passed away in late 2019. But in 2020, with not, going out much of anywhere, like everyone.
Dumpster fire, yeah.
It gave me a lot more time to write, and I did up through 2022. And then at the beginning of this year, I started working with a self-publisher. I didn't really want to wait around and try to sell everything to someone that might publish it for me. So we worked together and did several rounds of editing, and then working on the cover and the interior, everything, which was all new to me. And yeah, I finally got it done, and now available to the public in September. So now I some evenings I'm like, all right, no writing, no editing. What am I going to do now?
What do I do with myself?
Yeah.
So what is your next project? What's on the horizon?
I don't know. I've kind of contemplated an idea of like a 30 or 31 day devotional for people that are dealing with severe physical or physical problems like I have, maybe it be an injury or cancer or something.
Yeah.
So I've kind of started doing the layout of that.
I like that idea. I think that's
great idea.
Very needed. Very needed.
But I've also been a little bit busier with web work lately, so that's a good thing as well.
It's good to stay busy.
I love that you're working with kids. Our kids, we are failing them so miserably, and I'm so glad that there's a good influence out there.
Yeah,
I don't want to go too deep into the politics of it, but you and I have very similar politics, I know. At the what we're doing to our kids these days, and all the other things that are going on around them. It's nice to hear that there's somebody out there with a positive voice that isn't trying to groom them into something crazy, but teach them to be positive and able to take care of themselves.
yeah.
World needs more of you, so start recruiting.
So,
hopefully the book will help. But
yeah, hopefully, yeah.
what are some of your favorite Bible verses to inspire people and yourself when
I'll be writing
you're
this down.
feeling down about things, or when one of the people you're helping out, they're down in the dumps? What are some of your favorite Bible verses?
Well, for me, Psalm 8 is a big one. It is David looking at all of God's creation, and part of it says, "When I look at the stars and the works of your hands,
Oh, what is
man that you are
mindful of him?" Yes, that is a beautiful psalm.
You care for him. So that's a good reminder that in Genesis 1, it says how each day God created everything by speaking into existence. And we look at, say, the stars at night, or even the intricacy of a small thing like a gnat that may fly around your face and annoy you, but think of how everything in it is created to work. And when we look at a big picture perspective, really, what is the earth compared to everything else? And then just one individual that is on this blue globe. Really, how much of a speck on a speck we are.
Yeah.
But Christ came for us, and that's one thing that really humbles me and makes me remember of what God has done and really cares for us.
That's a beautiful answer. Beautiful answer.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Busy Guy, I don't want to keep you too long, but I also want to make sure that we touched all the bases. So we talked about trains, we talked about your book. If you were to let someone know what they're in for when they read your book, what kind of ride they're going to get, what would you tell somebody who's kind of on the fence? Why do I want to read this book? What am I going to get out of it?
Yeah, that's an interesting one that I haven't had yet, but I was
preparing you for the big time, Joel.
There you go. It'll be a bumpy ride, as part of the title says, unexpected times abound. And I had a lot of times in life that we didn't know if funding would be able to continue, or finding nurses, or where even I'll be able to go to school. So all these roller coasters definitely go all throughout the book. Some may think that I just wrote it so they'll continue to another chapter, but no, they are all true, and it actually did happen. But in the end, to look at how God has worked everything together, and I'm able to be here now as I am, and as far as I know, I'm hoping I'm incorrect, that I'm like one of the third longest living quadriplegics around.
Really?
At least that I know of.
Wow.
Again, I don't know everyone, so don't.
Well, not everybody, but
quote me, but I only know 2 other guys that have my same injury level and
that's something I could
needs
look up.
that have more years than I do. So
what is the typical lifespan?
Well, that changes. At first, it was like 10 years, then 20, and I think it's around 30 now. But
Well, according to Guinness, Donald Clarence James lived to be 69. So you've still got plenty of time ahead of you.
and how many years post-injury?
Let's see. He was paralyzed on 1951. Has been paralyzed for 69 years and 193 days.
As a C23 quad?
It doesn't say. It doesn't say. It's just Guinness.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Paraplegics, there are a lot of older ones too.
Yeah.
But when you get the exact injury level and include vent needs, that's where it gets more specific, I guess.
More specific, yeah. Well, I was just saying, you have a long time. We keep telling our cat that too. I had a cat that lived to be 21, so you got another 10 years in you. Yeah. Well, you seem to be, all things considered, you seem to be a pretty healthy guy. Mentally, you're on point, and you seem to be doing pretty good. I know it's a rough go to always have to have somebody there. So privacy, not your biggest benefit, but
it's not
yeah,
something a quadriplegic gets much of.
yeah.
But I also have someone that can always be here to hear my bad jokes too. So
That's true, and you do have a great sense of humor. So I would consider possibly writing a humorous book about your exploits.
maybe.
You have such a great attitude.
I could try.
You're making me feel like a big whiny baby.
Maybe I'll try my stick at being a sit-down comedian.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. And if they don't laugh at your jokes, you can smack them with a stick.
There you are.
Tell me about this stick. It's not just a pokey thing. I mean, does it interface with electronics? It's just a rod?
Yeah, and I can type with 30 words a minute.
I think you type better than Jim does.
Yeah, you do.
I watch him. I call him the hunting pecker because he's always like, poink.
Well, I do, just faster.
Yeah.
However, it does not work with any type of touch technology.
Right. So do you have different sticks for different gigs? I mean, do you swap out your sticks?
I do somewhat, but this is primarily all I use.
Yeah.
But I do have one that will work on smart devices.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really, really heavy because it has to be metal to conduct the electricity from your mouth all the way down. Because touch devices work according to the electrodes or, electrical pulses in your fingers or whatever you're using. And obviously this won't have that.
Yeah.
With the rubber tips I have here.
Well, that explains why my phone doesn't respond to me. I just must not be electric enough. I can't get like the air blowers for your hands or paper towels or automatic faucets or any of those things. Touchscreens, they all hate me. I guess I'm just not.
You need to get a charge or something then.
Yeah, I guess so. I'll have to rub my hands together and walk in some wool socks or something to try to zap it. I can't tell you how many times I've had to ask somebody to wave their hands under a faucet so I can wash my hands. It's ridiculous. So they don't see me. I don't know. Yeah, my phone just ignores me. My phone's much like the dog. She just, whatever, ignores you.
I know that other conditions like Parkinson's disease and that kind of thing also have trouble with smart devices because of, again, electrical impulses in fingers.
Yeah. Their electricity's all out of whack.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Joel, you are the preacher. You do web development. You speak to kids, which I think is incredible. You have published your book. The book's name, which I've already forgotten, is The Quad Life. Unexpected Times Abound, Reliance on God a Must. What a great subtitle. We will have all of those links up at counterculturewise.com, but go ahead and remind everybody where they can find you and where they can find your book.
Well, you can find me again at joelvm.com, and that has links to my YouTube channel, my weekly blog, and all that. And also
and that's V
book.
as in Vander, M as in Molen, so VM.
Yep. And then my book is best found at Amazon under the Quad Life. Or again, my website has a link to it as well.
Awesome. Well, you're an incredible guest, Joel, and I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with us. I can't wait to get this out
Thank you
to our
so much.
listeners. You're so inspiring. I want to have you back on when you publish your next book, because there will be a next one.
All right. Well, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. And he waves his stick. I love it. You have an amazing evening, and we will talk to you again soon. Here on CounterCultureWISE, we may rant, we may rave, but most of all, we go against the current culture because we believe, to the core of our beings, that humans are good and the world is an amazing and beautiful place. At the beginning of our show, we give you news of the weird and wonderful, but that is just the tip of the magnificent iceberg that is our world. We now present news of the wonderfuller. Alrighty, we got a couple stories to send you off into the CounterCultureWISE abyss of
Wonderfulness.
I like that. Abyss of wonderfulness.
The abyss of wonderfulness. All right. I go first. In a heartwarming tale from Georgia, that's in the United States, not Georgia, formerly in Russia there, 72-year-old resident recently celebrated his college graduation in cinema studies, an achievement made even more special by the presence of his proud 99-year-old mother. Now, this just proves that even though I'm starting late in life for the actual college degree, it's never too late. So this is cool. Sam Kaplan of Lawrenceville decided to embark on his educational journey at Georgia Gwinnett College in 2019, half a century after he had initially opted not to pursue higher education following his high school graduation in 1969. The catalyst for his return to academia came when he heard a radio announcement about a degree program in cinema studies. Recalling that moment, Kaplan said, "I was driving down the highway when I heard about the degree program. The next exit led to Collinsville, so I promptly exited, and within 5 minutes, I was enrolling in classes. I've always had a passion for writing and storytelling. I aspired to transform my narratives into screenplays, but realized I needed the foundational knowledge to do so." Kaplan admitted that the journey was a mix of anxiety and excitement, but it proved to be profoundly rewarding. He graduated with a 3.975 grade point average.
Wow, not bad.
Not at all. And summa cum laude honors, majoring in cinema and media arts, and has aspirations to continue crafting screenplays in the future. It was an exciting and nerve-wracking challenge. I think that was said earlier. But anyway, reacquainting myself with the art of studying and engaging with fellow students was a lot of fun, he told Fox 5 Atlanta. The most poignant aspect of Kaplan's graduation day was the presence of his mother, 99-year-old Virginia Kaplan, during the ceremony. Virginia expressed her immense pride, saying, "I'm so proud of him. He faced numerous challenges but persevered, and I'm delighted, pleased, and incredibly proud." The jubilant mother also added, "With his new degree, he's going to excel in whatever he does. Who knows, I might even make an appearance in the movies." The touching story showcases the enduring pursuit of knowledge and the unwavering support of a loving mother, proving it's never too late to follow one's dreams.
I agree wholeheartedly. And that's really encouraging lesson to end our podcast on today. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that interview. We will have the video version of that up on Rumble and our Subscribestar and BitChute, and of course our website, CounterCultureWISE.com, where we'll also have all of the links mentioned so that you can find Joel's book and follow him on his website. Thank you so much this evening. Have an amazing week, and we will see you next week.
CounterCultureWISE is a Stormcat production.
Thank you for joining our growing family of listeners. All links from the show are available on our website, CounterCultureWISE.com. Find our archives on any of your favorite podcast hosts.
We engage in satire, commentary, and generally laugh at the ridiculousness of our crumbling society. Our only medical or financial advice is to not follow any financial or medical advice given by podcasters.
Our animations, interviews, holy crap segment, and other videos are put out on BitChute and Rumble, and only in part on YouTube because they hate free speech.
Our show is entirely funded by listeners like you. Visit our ever-expanding merch store or our Subscribe Star, where you can get outtakes, extra videos, and sneak peeks.
If you would like to be a guest on our program, feel free to contact us via our website. Just click on the link at the top that says, Be a Guest on Our Show.
For more fun and cat pics, please visit our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. For complaints about our show, please fill out the ID10T form on our website, and we will give it the attention it deserves.
Meanwhile, no matter how cruel the world may be around you, always remember the importance of kindness. Be kind to each other, be kind to animals, and be kind to yourself. See you next week.